The New York Giants just dropped a game in Munich, Germany. Same story, different location for the New York Giants. Um, I'm not going to say I'm not happy. I'm very happy that this team lost. I'm not going to say I'm happy. But the New York Giants are doing things that just like the worst of the worst can't even defend anymore, right? Just doing a couple house cleaning things here before we get this short live started. Um, the, of course, I'm going to start with Daniel Jones here. I have to start with Daniel Jones. It's almost like a weekly occurrence that I have to start these things with Daniel Jones. He's awful, right? Just getting this out of the way. The Giants have, right off the bat, the Giants have to stop with the Saquon Barkley nonsense. All the Giants fans talking about Saquon Barkley have to stop. The Giants made the right decision letting Barkley go. That's not the case anymore. They found a bright spot in Tyrone Tracy. The fumble, I'm not worried about. The kid could play. The kid could play, and he's very cheap. So just starting with Daniel Jones as usual. Daniel Jones. For me, it's been a few weeks, but for Giants fans, Daniel Jones has made life so hard on the New York Giants and their fans to watch football games now. The best part about this was the fact that Jones did it early, right? 9:30 in the morning in our time, so we didn't have to sit through much. Now we get the whole day to just kind of do whatever we want and move on. And the Giants got the outcome that I wanted, and I can only try and convince other people. I know it's fun. You go into these weeks when your team is you want to win, right? You're a fan of a team, and I was this close. I was this close watching this game right after the Tyrone Tracy touchdown where I caught myself saying, man, the Giants are going to win this game. And then I cut myself off real quick. Real quick, I had to stop myself because I don't want the Giants to win any more games this year. Right? Last year was the perfect example again, like I said last week. 2-8. Giants are 2-8 back-to-back seasons. The only difference is their 2-8 last year didn't include Daniel Jones during these crunch moments. Now Daniel Jones is still in the picture. So who knows at this point? Who knows where it's going to go post-bye week? The bye week to me, and I said this a couple weeks ago, the bye week to me would be the absolute perfect time to get the next quarterback ready for Tampa Bay in 2 weeks at MetLife Stadium. So the Giants' next game, yes, is in 2 weeks after their bye week, but I think it's time for this fan base. Not again, like I can't reiterate this enough. I can't repeat this enough. I know Drew Lock and what he brings to the table. I don't know him personally. I sounded like I just know him personally. I know what Drew Lock brings to the table. I understand. I know what Tommy DeVito brings to the table. I understand what they are and their limitations. But we can't continue to trot this guy out here every single week. Although it's benefiting people like me, because I do think Daniel Jones gives this team the best chance to lose football games, contrary to what Brian Daboll's been saying, that Jones gives this team the best chance to win football games. Jones is giving them the best chance to lose football games. So for me, I'm perfectly content. I'm perfectly content with them sticking with Jones, although I don't want them to stick with Jones, if you get what I'm saying. Like I'm in a position where I'm perfectly fine with them benching him. But I also know he could help me out in the future with these losses. Getting through the first half of this football game was actually kind of comical because I've mentally and I've emotionally checked out with this team. There's not much more that I could bring when it comes to my emotions to the team anymore. I can't do it. I can't invest my full emotions and my full passion with this team. I just can't. I won't let myself do it anymore until I see improvement. Until I see improvement, I will not let myself. I refuse to let myself get angry or break things or toss things or ruin things for a football team that doesn't give you reason to do that anymore. There's just no reason to do it anymore. So again, the first drive of the game, you saw it right off the bat. Daniel Jones has Malik Neighbors wide open on a 20-yard out route. And he throws the ball 30 feet above Malik Neighbors' head. It's not even close to him to make a play. And keep in mind, he's wide open. So it's not like he had to make the hardest of throws when you're making $40 million. And the $40 million thing that's not Daniel Jones's fault. That's Joe Shane's fault. All Daniel Jones and his agent could have done was ask for money. You're only worth what somebody will pay you. So if you go to your boss and you ask for a raise and he says yes, and everybody else around you gets pissed off that you just got a raise when you really didn't deserve it, that's not your fault. That's the boss's fault. That's the ownership's fault. Not yours. So Jones making the money is not his fault. They could only ask for the sun and the moon. If it's handed to them, that's more on the people that give it to them. But fast forwarding a little bit, the offense was extremely quiet as usual. It takes the Giants' offense like 3.5 quarters to just kick it into gear. And just fast forwarding to the play everyone's going to be talking about, the 3rd and 1 flea flicker. The 3rd and 1 flea flicker was atrocious. I initially, when I watched the play over, and I'm not initially live when I watched the play, I saw the flea flicker. I said, "What the are we doing? What are we doing? A flea flicker with this offensive line and this quarterback?" Then I see Daniel Jones has a couple seconds to toss the ball downfield, and then he takes the sack. Say, okay, typical Giants fashion. Nobody's open. The routes probably ran wrong. Nobody blocked. That's the problem. You go and you look at the replay, and Kurt Warner is just hammering Daniel Jones in the nicest way possible. Wan'Dale Robinson didn't have a corner or a defensive player within 15 yards of him as he ran downfield. And then if you waited 2 more seconds, which Daniel Jones had the time, Malik Neighbors was coming wide open across the field, and he just doesn't throw it. Getting emotional again with this, because I can't believe how bad he is. I can't get over. Every week he shows us how much worse can I be than the week before. This one was one of the all-time Jones blunders that I've ever seen. And on top of that, he throws 2 more picks today. And I don't want to hear that I don't want to hear the first one off the helmet of Jadeveon Clowney wasn't his fault. It's 100% Daniel Jones' fault. Keep in mind, when Jones releases the ball to his intended target, which was Theo Johnson on that play, keep in mind, if Theo Johnson even gets his hands on that ball, there's nothing there for him. Nothing there. He's 2 yards away from Jones. You got to find a way to get the ball around Clowney and not throw it off his fucking helmet. You can't do it. Then the second one, was it a great play by Josie Jewell? Yeah, it was a great play by Jewell. It was an amazing play. But again, that ball has to be placed outside the numbers from Jones, not inside the numbers. Ball placement is probably Daniel Jones's worst attribute. Not only for the fact that he waits for a guy to be extremely open, except for the flea flicker. That's another story. But Daniel Jones's worst attribute is anticipation and ball placement. He can't do either of them. He can't do either of them. Either of them. I don't even know how you say it because he's pissing me off again. But the Tracy pick, yeah, Jewell made an outstanding play. Shout out to Iowa, Josie Jewell. But the ball just, if it's placed where it's supposed to be placed, that doesn't even come close to happening. He leaves so many yards on the field, and it's just like it's a repeat every single week of watching him just leave yards on the field, put players in awful spots to get hurt. He already got Darius Slayton hurt. It's too much. I don't know how. Every time you think you don't have more to complain about with Daniel Jones, he gives you more to complain about. I don't care about interceptions. I don't care about bad throws. But when you do them every week on a consistent basis, and we watch it every single week, and then we have guys who've had success, more success last season than Daniel Jones in Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito. Again, I know they're not the future of the team. People take your words and they say, oh, no, you think Drew Lock's better? Drew Lock's not the future. Tommy DeVito's the future. Tommy DeVito's not the future. That's not the point. The point is we can't watch Jones play quarterback anymore. It's too much now. And yes, can you turn the TV off and just not watch it and go enjoy your Sunday? No, but we're not built like that. As fans, we have to watch these games, no matter what you want the outcome to be. And thankfully today, for people like me, the outcome was exactly what I wanted. 2-8 should put you into the top 2 or 3 in the draft. Last year, 2-8 put them in with the 6th overall pick because of those useless wins last year. So going back to the problem that the Giants have is Daniel Jones gives you the best chance to lose football games. So if you bench him, Drew Lock might come in or Tommy DeVito might come in and rip off a game or two that you're not supposed to win. But Jones gives you the best chance to lose, contrary to what Brian Daboll says. Brian Daboll wants to call so many plays that he knows he just can't call because this guy holds the offense back. Do you understand the genius of the offensive mind that Brian Daboll is? If you don't understand it, go back and look at what he's done elsewhere. His offensive mind is brilliant, but we cannot see much of it as long as Jones is the quarterback. It's not that hard to understand. It's really not. And again, his most successful year with Jones is when he didn't ask him to do anything. Run the ball 45% of the time with Barkley, run the ball for another 15% of the time with Jones, and then just make the safest throws possible off the run. You can't live that way, unfortunately. Giants started 6-1 that year, and then the league started to kind of catch up a little bit and say, well, let's stack the box a little bit more, and let's let Daniel Jones beat us instead of letting these guys run the ball down our throats. There's got to come a point in time where, excuse me, there's got to come a point in time where John Mara might have to step in. If he's not the guy that's calling the shots, somebody's got to step in and say, it can't be. I refuse to believe. I absolutely refuse to believe that Brian Daboll, Joe Schoen, and John Mara all want Daniel Jones to continue to start. I refuse to believe that, because if that's the case, they all need to go. And I know Mara can't go because he's the owner, but there's just no way that that's the case. Somebody out of those three is making the Giants play Daniel Jones. And I'm telling you, and I fully believe it's not Brian Daboll. If it was up to Brian Daboll, he would have got the quarterback he wanted last year in the draft. But he didn't. and he's stuck with Jones. But it's unacceptable if all three of them are in agreement that they have to play Daniel Jones. I refuse to believe that. That can't be the case. It just cannot be the case. But then again, there are bright spots on this team, right? I like Tyrone Tracy a lot. I really do. I don't care about the fumble. The kid could play. Kid could play very well. Guy's name we didn't call all day, which is a good thing for offensive linemen, is Evan Neal. Evan Neal started at right tackle today. You didn't hear his name at all. You did not hear his name at all, which is a great thing for offensive linemen. It's amazing. Is it possible Evan Neal's fixed? Is it possible Evan Neal's going to be trending upwards for the rest of the season? Do I question where Evan Neal has been for the last 3 or 4 weeks? Yes, I do. But he's on the field now. Wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't be mad if he developed. Brian Burns, again, great game. Dexter Lawrence pushes the pocket constantly. I don't even remember if the Giants sacked Bryce Young today. I don't think they did. A lot of people were calling for Daniel Jones to be benched at halftime of this game. When I knew deep down, I knew he wasn't going to get benched. You just know it. They came out in the second half, and yes, did they look better? Okay. You're playing the Panthers. And you must have 17 points. Right around your season's average, which is like 16. You got 17 points against a defense that gives up like 30. You had nothing in the first half. It's astonishing you had nothing. And again, if Graham Gano, here's another thing too. Like every team has a kicker that could kick the ball like 85 yards. The Giants have a kicker on the first drive of the game. It was either the first or the second drive of the game. Giants get to the 38. It's a 55-yard field goal, and Gano can't kick it? What? Why is he on this team if he can't kick a 50-plus yarder? I don't understand. Maybe because he missed the 43-yarder. It shows you that it's not about rust. It could be about rust, but it's 50. If you can't kick a 55-yarder, why are you on it? Why are you on my team? When other teams have these guys that just knock 50, 65, almost 70-yard field goals with ease. Then I got a punter who I don't know how he got the name Scottish Hammer when he is the worst punter in football. His net yardage is so bad. Giants punted the ball from the 38 of Carolina, and Carolina started with the ball at their like 17. Look, it's ridiculous field position when you're punting it inside the 40. I don't know. I don't know where we stand after the bye week. I don't know if this is going to be it for Jones. My prediction initially was the Giants could lose. The Giants could lose to Washington, Carolina, have the bye week, and then Daniel Jones gets benched. That was what I said 3 weeks ago. Judging from the fact that Jones didn't have the worst second half and going into the bye week, I could easily see them sticking with Jones post bye week, which is a big mistake in my eyes. It's a big mistake. You got to show the fans at 2-8 that bad play is just not acceptable. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. Bad play should not be acceptable. But they're just forced. And again, I'm going to try not to get pissed off, but somebody is calling the shots to play Daniel Jones. Somebody at that franchise, in that building, is forcing the Giants to play Daniel Jones. And I'm telling you, it's not Brian Daboll. It's not. It can't be. If you could read faces, every time he's asked about Daniel Jones, he just, like, his face just crunches up. He can't take talking about it anymore. But you won't have to talk about it anymore if you were able to bench him. I just don't think he's able to bench him. I really don't. It sounds like something Mara would do, if we're being honest, where he's saying, you guys paid him, you guys paid him the money, so play him. It sounds like something that he could be saying. I just don't know if that's the full case. What's the answer, right? I feel like the only answer has to just be bench him. There's no more finding things out. And not only that, the biggest caveat of this whole thing is you cannot afford to injure Daniel Jones moving forward. The Giants legitimately have a built-in excuse to not play Daniel Jones after the bye week anymore. They have this void in the contract, an injury clause that pays him $40+ million guaranteed if he can't pass a physical next year. They're not going to cut him at that point. You're going to be paying him $40-something million. But if he's hurt, if he's healthy, you could cut him. You could save $20 million right off the cap. Giants will have approximately $70 million in cap if they're able to get rid of Daniel Jones next year. Sounds pretty good. Bringing a rookie quarterback you want. You have a lot of money to spend and build around him. You already got a couple weapons. Young, cheap weapons. I'm saying that could be the answer. You got to keep him healthy. If you keep Daniel Jones healthy, and the best way to do that is to not play him anymore after the bye week, you'll go into next year where you could cut Daniel Jones, save $20 million. You already have about $48-49 million in cap space next year. Bump that up to about 70 with the new numbers. That'll probably be approximately $75 million. With other cuts, you could probably bump it up even more, but that will look great with a rookie quarterback salary. Now you bring in a rookie quarterback that you truly want. You have younger, cheap weapons like Tyrone Tracy, Wan'Dale Robinson. You could go out and get yourself a number 1A receiver in free agency if you truly wanted to. Continue to build the offensive line. Continue to build up the defense. And now you have a young stud quarterback you picked on a rookie deal, and you're starting to build talent around him. That's the answer. But it has to end now, here in week 10, with Daniel Jones not starting anymore. It has to end now. If you continue to put him out there and he gets hurt, that's a fireable offense for both Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. And I know you can't predict injury, but you could prevent it. You can't predict injury, but you could prevent it by not starting him after the bye week. If Daniel Jones starts after the bye week and he winds up getting hurt and he can't pass a physical next season by March, that is a fireable offense for Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. Fireable offense. You cannot put next year's cap in jeopardy. They specifically structured this contract to get out of it after 2 seasons. This is why you cannot play him after the bye week. Do not get yourself fired. Do not put yourself in a crappy cap position next year by fully guaranteeing all of Jones's money, because it will cripple this team next season. If you think they're bad now, just imagine if $40 more million is fully guaranteed to Daniel Jones next year. They'll be even more unwatchable than they are now. Giants lose again. I'm happy. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm not going to cry about it. I want them to lose. And they got a couple more of these type of games coming up soon with the Colts. The Colts are not as bad as people think. I think the Giants could easily lose that game. I think they could lose to Tampa. They got another one with Dallas on Thanksgiving, which is kind of a toss-up because you don't have Prescott. But they could lose that game too. They got another one against Philly. You know, I think they got the Falcons in Atlanta. That should be a loss. This team should not finish outside the top 5. If they do, it's going to be a repeat of last year's draft. Just a repeat of fans arguing back and forth over the 5th or 6th best quarterback in the class, saying whether they should pick him up or not. So to avoid all that, just lose out, finish 2-15, get yourself the pick, and let's move on from there. If you guys got this far, I appreciate you watching. Share, like, and subscribe this. I'll catch you guys on the next video.